So fog, we know it is this thick mist. It's low to the ground, and it significantly lessens our ability to see. Therefore, we're unsure of what lies ahead. So there exists a similar dynamic when we experience change, uncertainty, conflict, confusion in our relationships or in our work. And our ability to see clearly is disrupted, and we feel unsure and vulnerable of what's ahead. Now, this fog can last a few moments or for months on end. So to help me and others navigate this kind of fog experience, I developed a visual representation. I call it the Spiral of Accountability. And from countless experiences and examples over the last several years, I can guarantee you that when you apply this tool to these uncertain situations, you'll gain some clarity and some confidence to move forward through the fog. So let me walk you through an example as we discuss the various aspects of the spiral. So early in my career, I lived in Texas, and I worked several years in healthcare, specifically at a for-profit psychiatric hospital back when they existed. I remember a time back in 1990, thereabouts, I noticed that our senior leaders were in closed-door, multi-day meetings with all the corporate bigwigs. And when they would come out of those meetings, they were quiet and distant, which wasn't like them. Now, I was in middle management, and my fellow managers and I were confused and clearly out of the loop of what was going on in those closed doors meetings. We were in the fog. Now, uncertainty and change can spark a wide variety of emotions, and those emotions often lead to our self-talk. And our self-talk then has the potential of intensifying those emotions. It's circular, they feed on each other. So in my Texas scenario, as managers, our initial reaction to the fog experience was fear and anxiety. And that fear promoted self-talk statements like, this can only be bad. And maybe we're being sold or closed. And I bet heads are going to roll. So we were beginning that spiral down. And as those statements became more and more absolute, more sure of ourselves, we began to not only think the hospital was closing, but that corporate was out to get us. And they weren't being fair. And our executives were just trying to save their own jobs and leaving us all out in the cold. And this fear and anxiety was intensifying. Some of us lost sleep and our work was suffering as we kind of stewed in this. And we also started to kind of share our thoughts with others as if we knew all the facts and what was going to happen. That, of course, leaked out to our staff. And at this point, our behaviors were becoming very, very destructive. When spiraling down, we engage in multiple destructive behaviors like avoidance. We may ignore the problem altogether or ignore certain people. We make excuses, we gossip, and we assign blame. And these behaviors are making the situation actively worse. Then we expand our destruction by recruiting others to join in the misery. No one wants to be alone in their misery. We want others to justify our misery and our behavior. So we had successfully done that, and now our staff was spiraling down. It was easy for them to join in the rumors and to speculate with information that none of us had. So as you can see, an important evolution starts to happen on your way down the spiral. That event or situation that initiated the fog transitions into a narrative, and then that narrative becomes a saga, and no saga is complete without a distinct villain to be lashed out at. In our case, it was corporate and our executives. And the stories we made up were dramatic, and we started to really bond together with, how can they do this to us? We deserve better. This place can't function without us, and we should all just barge in there and give them a piece of our mind. And we had fully generated a group of commiserators, and we were in full-blown misery. The emotions of fear and anxiety that once had us feeling unsure and vulnerable now have us feeling self-righteous and full of contempt. And the very destructive energy associated with self-righteousness and contempt is alluring. That's why it's so easy to generate commiserators. It can even be energizing and addictive. So much so that we really don't want a solution. to the initial problem because it would lessen our contempt and we would lose our perceived power. While it's really easy to spiral down in such a situation as we did, there's another way to approach the fog of uncertainty. Flip the spiral. Spiral up instead of down. Because here's the deal. The fog can also spark feelings of curiosity, empathy, compassion, determination, even excitement. And that can lead to more effective self-talk, such as, there has to be more to this story, which leads us to questions. How else can I look at this situation? What are my facts and assumptions? Who else can give me more information or perspective? What's my best response in this situation? And these questions invite productive behaviors like dialogue, discussion around ideas, teamwork, leadership. And our next step, right, is to take responsibility for what we're learning. And as we learn more, the feelings of curiosity and determination, they intensify too. And we start to involve others to explore ideas and solutions with us. We seek collaboration in our problem solving because we know problems do not get solved alone. This is work we do together. So there's the good news in my Texas story. As middle managers, a couple of us came together and realized we just couldn't stand by. We needed to choose a different path. One that would enable us to spiral up. And if we didn't, our staff's attitudes and performance was going to suffer even more to the point of affecting our patients. And that's unacceptable. To do that, to spiral up, we'd have to get curious about what's happening behind these closed doors and not assume we knew. We would have to get brave enough to take that responsibility to seek clarification from our leaders so that we could truly know the actual situation. When we chose to actually do this, we discovered the meetings were this intense training around a new quality program corporate was implementing again. We also found out that our leaders were really stressed out about how the rest of the organization was going to react to another new program. So they were keeping the initiative under wraps. So it turns out they were in a fog too and spiraling down just like we were. So as a leadership team, once we realized we were in the same place, right, it was easy to change our focus from complaining and commiserating to considering our options of how to go about implementing this new program and getting our staff on board. We were ready to communicate and collaborate rather than assume and make excuses. And the evolution happens when we spiral up. It changes from a destructive obstacle to a door to opportunity that builds strong connections and collaboration. And these experiences build resilience and synchronicity in individuals and teams and leaders. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. This is hard work. Spiraling down is easy, right? Anybody can do it. And it's not nearly as addictive in its intensity, but it is so much more rewarding and it's inspiring because we are empowered to solve a problem and that power was real. So the difference between whether a fog experience sends us spiraling down or spiraling up is all in our mindset. And the questions are the key. So the next time you experience a fog, ask yourself, what am I assuming? And is it true? Because I can be wrong. Am I exaggerating or overreacting? Because I can do that too. And how else can I look at this situation? Or who else can give me insights I can't provide myself? And those questions lead you to even more questions, ones that you need to involve others in answering. But be particular about who you choose to help you. Seek others that bring the light, not the darkness, that bring the light that helps you see clearly so you have the courage to move into what lies ahead.